Okay, in these last 6 months, let's face it, we've all been surrounded by a lot of fear, anxiety from COVID, and also economic hardship.
It just doesn't end. And if you're feeling unfocused and overwhelmed, you are not alone. Lisa Lichtenstein, licensed marriage and family therapist, joining us once again now with some great tips and advice. We love your tips and advice. And let's start with
Thank you.
this. Lisa, thank you for joining us. What is the best strategy to handle these challenging emotions? Like, should we face fears head on, or should we try to keep busy and distracted?
Right. So I think definitely let's face our fears, our emotions, because if we turn our backs on emotions, they kind of follow us. They snowball into getting a little bit bigger and more uncomfortable. So conversely, if we basically think about setting a time to face your emotions, even like daily. Like we have a time where we brush our teeth. It's not a big deal anymore when we get older. So think of emotions as just part of your everyday self-care. It could be a little bit in the morning or a little bit in lunchtime. It could be a little bit throughout the day. But just surveying, how am I feeling? If you're not sure, you can sort of take a little multiple choice. Am I feeling anxious, fearful, overwhelmed? If you're resonating and saying yes to one of those emotions, then figure out why. What's causing this, and then see if you can feel it, let that energy come through and out of you, and then see if you can find some solutions. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I have 10 things on my plate. Then you can say, okay, let me just write down what I need to do, assign a time and a date, and I feel much more relieved. Face it, and you'll be able to resolve and kind of feel much more lighter.
And I think with that overwhelmed feeling becomes unfocused. You're unfocused right now, especially with so many of people watching at home. We're teaching at home. I couldn't remember what day it was at all this week. You feel like
you're like me.
You're going from one
Yes.
place to the next. So, how do we gain more focus? Is it only in trying to create a schedule, or is there anything else that we can make us more productive?
It's a great point. I think that be cognizant of what are you feeling, like what's on your mind, because there can be so many different things in the mind in a moment. So maybe even just get a piece of paper, get just a moment of stillness and jot down, list what is on my mind. And then you might be able to allocate, okay, these 5 things I've got covered tonight. I'm going to get that stuff done.
Okay.
And it's almost like if we all had this really cool challenge. We had this castle to go to, and then we had all this furniture delivered. If it was all delivered in one point in the house, it would all be piling up. And I like to use that as an analogy of overwhelm in our mind. Everything can have its proper place and layout, and we can feel much more at ease. So take that, put it out on paper, and then find where you want to, allocate time, and everything will you'll be able to have much more of a healthy balance.
I love the way you put things. Lisa Lichtenstein, thank you so much for helping us once again.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. We certainly do. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You too. We always feel better after talking to
Yeah.
Lisa. Oh my goodness. And